Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome back to Unbearable 73. This is part 3 of my review of the San Diego Comic Con Amazoff's Rings of Prime trailer. So we left off going to another scene in the trailer. So this appears to be Sauron walking. We'll play it in a second, and I'll show you why my evidence is for that. So let's take a look at a slide. So on the left, you have the gauntlet of the man or being walking in that scene. And on the right, we have the cover of Amazon's paperback edition of the Rings of Prime, the Return of King. I don't come up with a name for that because the cover makes me never want to see it. But anyway, the guy on the cover is Sauron holding a sword, even though Sauron doesn't wield a sword; he wields a mace. When he does wield one, I guess he could wield a sword too, right? But you see that spiked black gauntlet? That looks to be very similar, and I'm betting that's Sauron in that form walking around. Mm-hmm. So now let's go back to our trailer watch. All right. So let's play a little more. So we see the scene with all these people bowing to him, right? Now, and then in the scene I just showed you, with all we see a hackneyed attempt by Amazoff's Rings of Prime at smearing via metaphorical association. Those guys wearing the whitish hooded robes look awfully similar to a dyke organization that the Democratic Party founded in the U.S. in the 1800s to harass unwanted European ethnic groups, minorities, and Catholics. They have initials that are identical and come after after JJJ in the alphabet, right? And then a lot of people are saying this guy in this scene here, he's another form of Sauron. Don't know that for sure. But let's go forward past that. Okay. So now we got a female giving some sort of rallying speech in the crowd where we see someone raise a sword. Now, this is either Galadriel or someone using an identical sword. So let's... Galadriel is a noble a noble of the member of the two ruling families of elves, as I told you. She's not one of the common folk. Her being in a crowd like this is dubious, but it's there. So let's take a look at those swords. See, this is the scene again, so I can show you the still shot of the foe JJJ plus ones. Okay, here's the swords. Now, so on the left, this is the sword that was raised, right? And if you look at the right, they have the same pommel, the same hilt, the same structure to the guard, the same symbol in the middle. And on the right is a scene from later in the trailer. Galadriel is walking on board a ship holding a sword in her left hand, where obviously this is someone holding either an identical sword, meaning it's crafted the same, or the same sword in their right hand, right? So that's that. And now for some comedy. I'm just going to show it on screen. This is what many people are calling the Sister Act 3 screen. I want to laugh, but I have to cry. I want to cry too. And sadly, this is not even an attempt at an homage. Okay? We have seen time and time again that these incompetent writers on these woke shows just steal scenes, dialogue, or exact plots from other shows and movies in the past. They like to, they have the mentality of, oh, that was cool when Batman was doing that in Batman Begins. So you get Bat Reva jumping around the same way on the roof, and so on and so forth. You can call out those scenes. You'll learn to recognize them when you know they're doing it, especially. Okay. So let's go back to the trailer again. Okay. Advance forward a little bit. Just a little bit. Hopefully I'll get this in the third part here. And we'll play it. So right here is what I'm talking about. Okay. So, and this is complete nonsense. Okay. If you're focusing on the armor, the sword, or hard riding a horse, or being in battle, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Galadriel engaged in battle, For example, in the War of the Ring, and Amazoff has no excuse here because this is in the appendices, and we have a clear example of how Galadriel, of example in a battle and how she fought. Okay, what she did at the end of this battle in particular. Okay? So let's look at the slide. Three times Lorien has been assailed from Dol Guldur, but besides the valor of the elven people of that land, the power that dwelt there was too great for any to overcome. Referring to, unless Sauron himself had come there, meaning only Sauron could have overcome Lorien, which was protected by Galadriel. Okay, that's our power level. Okay? Though grievous harm was done to the fair woods on the borders, the assaults were driven back, and when the shadow passed, Celeborn, who's still alive in the Third Age here in the text, came forth and led the host of Lorien over the Anduin in many boats. They took Dol Guldur, sorry about the typo, and Galadriel threw down its walls and laid bare its pits, and the forest was cleansed. Galadriel did that. Now, could she fight? This is primarily how she would fight. She destroys things with her power. Could she fight with a sword? Sure. She's thousands of years old. She's probably an elite level wielder of sword and military and arms. She's an elite. She's an older noble. She would have the training for that. Okay. But to get her in a sword fight, one would have to contend with a power that can rip apart the Tower of Guldur with just her will. Okay. You know. So. Sorry for this. I bypassed my notes. Now, let me be clear here. My point is not in how Galadriel is depicted as fighting in terms of method, but rather than, as per the lore, due to how her nature, her character, her abilities, experience, and so on. Depicting her leading cavalry charges is not in compliance with Tolkien's canon depiction. She should be depicted something like as a commander in a position of strategic reserve near the battlefield, looking for points of inflection where she can apply her power, knowledge, or if absolutely need, even her sword arm in desperate times, desperate measures. But she wouldn't be in front of a mismatched, unorganized cavalry charge like that. Okay, that's reckless behavior. She would, if she's at that point, that means literally Sauron is on the field, is going to kill everyone in her path, and it's the only chance left. That's anyway. So I'm gonna stop part 3 right here, and it's a little shorter than others, but I don't want to. I'm trying to keep these parts to under 13 minutes, and I think if I don't stop right here, I'll have a gigantic 20-minute part 3. So.